everyone, and welcome to Wombmates, a podcast where we talk openly and honestly about the realities of motherhood. We are your hosts, twin sisters Lily
and Lela.
Today we have two very special guests who are longtime friends of ours since we were in 7th grade, Paige and Emily. They are twin sisters, just like me and Lela. And fun fact, we all have the same birthday, the same year. And we found that out in 7th grade, and we were friends ever since.
Which is happening in 5 days.
Which our birthday is in, 5 days from the time we're recording this, so.
Happy birthday.
Which is
Happy
cute.
birthday.
This can be our little birthday. Our birthday celebration is a podcast recording.
Let's just
Happy
celebrate
birthday.
right now. Everybody grab some champagne.
Should be eating some cake.
Yeah. Well, you guys have macaroons, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
That counts.
That looks like a little cute.
So
Yeah,
Emily lives in
memo.
San Diego, California. Paige lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And we are very honored to have them on the show today because they are both incredible women who have navigated very different life journeys with resilience and courage and kindness. And I'm so honored to be your friend, and I'm really glad you're here. So I think they each have a lot of wisdom to share about what it means to keep growing and adapting and just transforming into who you want to be through life's unexpected twists and turns, which we are going to talk about today. So Emily is a Navy Top Gun tactical instructor, warship driver, and mom of toddler triplets. From hunting submarines to prepping her next deployment on the USS Essex, she's an example of how grit and resilience can impact motherhood. Mm-hmm. Paige works in human resources, specifically in the benefits and compensation space, and approaches her work in a way that balances empathy with strategy for large organizations. She loves to hike and go to concerts with her husband in her spare time. Welcome.
Very cool people.
Hello.
Very cool, as you can tell from those amazing introductions. So, before we start talking about stuff in our life, how about we talk about when we met? Do you guys remember what your reaction was of finding out we have the same birthday and how we met?
Well,
Please tell that story.
I remember Lily and I were in a physical education class together, and it was a rainy day, so we ended up being in one of those like trailer portable like classrooms, and I didn't have any friends
Central
yet.
Florida.
Classic Central Florida. I didn't have any friends yet because we had just moved to a new school, and so I identified Lily as someone I wanted to talk to, and so I just went up to her desk and I asked her, "Hi, I'm Paige, what's your birthday?" She told me it was June 9th, and I didn't believe her for a second, but it was. So then we stayed friends pretty much forever after that. She told me, I think, remind me of, keep me honest, but didn't you tell me that you wanted me to meet your sister at lunch? And I was like, I want you to meet my sister at lunch, but we didn't share that we had twins, or we were twins. And so then we all met at lunch.
Yeah. Isn't that weird that was the first question you asked me?
That is
I don't
so
know
weird.
It was like the universe was like, connect now.
Yes, that,
Do
or
it.
I think I didn't want to be like generic, like, what's your favorite color? Like, I was like, what's your birthday?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just happened to be my birthday, which was actually normal to me, though. Having
You
a
already
twin.
know someone with your birthday.
Yeah.
And then apparently we met at lunch.
Yes.
All four of us.
And here we
Your
are,
birthday.
doing a podcast. Okay, I thought we could, like, I don't know, take turns asking you guys about just, like, your past and where you are now and how you got to where you are now. How about we start with Emily?
Okay.
How did life lead you to the Navy, first of all? That's the first question. Talk about your Navy history.
Yes.
My Navy history and how my life led me to the Navy. Well, I was 14 years old, and we have a sister who's 3 years older, and she was finishing up her senior year. of high school, and there was a student who had just selected for a West Point scholarship, which is like a full scholarship to a military academy for the Army. And when you finish the school, you commission as an officer, and everyone like gave him a standing ovation. And I thought it was like literally the coolest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. However, I'm not in the Army. So what happened there? Once I started doing all the things you do to like prepare to be a military officer, which really just means like, join cross country, run a lot, try to get like some leadership positions and take really hard like classes in school. So I did all those things, and then I was applying for West Point, the Naval Academy, and then also like some backup schools. And I went and visited Vanderbilt University with my dad, and it was only like an hour drive from our house. And I really loved it. I came home and I told my mom about it, and she encouraged me to apply for an Army and Navy ROTC scholarship, which ROTC is Reserve Officer Training Corps. So I applied for that scholarship, and literally the next day, I started the application, put all of my stuff in. The only thing I didn't put in was an essay because I hadn't written one yet. And I got a phone call from a recruiter from Memphis, which was like 4-hour drive from us. And he said that my application looked really strong and he could see me later that day for an interview. So I got permission from my mom to stay home from school. I wrote the essay, and then I went and interviewed with him. And like, gosh,
I did not even know this.
Later, yeah, 4 months later, I got the scholarship, and then a month later, I got accepted to Vanderbilt, and now I'm a lieutenant commander in the Navy, which is an 04.
That is awesome. I did not know that either.
What a great story.
Yeah, it was really shocking. Like, we got a phone call, like, he knows, like, it's so funny, because, like, I know recruiters now, but at the time, like, I obviously didn't, and I was so impressed that he, like, called at, like, 6 a.m. before I left for school. But it's, like, first of all, 6 a.m. for, like, military is not that early. And so, like, of course he's calling at 6 a.m. because he's trying to grab me before I go to school. So I just stayed home that day. I actually had to lead the brigade. I was an Army JRTC, and I had to lead the brigade for a parade that day. And because it was our homecoming parade. And so I showed up to this interview in my whole Army JRTC uniform with like I was second in command at the time of the brigade, and so I showed up to this interview in the little Army JRTC uniform, which is the same uniform that the Army wears. And I just did the interview. I don't even remember what I said. I don't remember anything I said. I don't remember any of the questions they asked me.
That's how I feel about every interview I've ever been in.
Blackout.
Honestly, that's like the only interview I've ever done for a job. So
I was just gonna say, Emily, something I admire about you is that I feel like you just have this laser focus, and you just knew you wanted to do this thing, and now you just worked really hard at it, and you just keep working your way up, and now look at you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, and I know you didn't choose to have triplets, but I feel like I think I remember you saying this, that you were like chosen in a way to because of how like crazy that is. And I feel like you, out of all people, are like somebody that would do really well managing that, even though I'm sure I know it's hard.
I mean, I honestly think that anybody who has multiples, you just got to figure it out. Like, we could ask our moms, you know. Like, I used my mom so much during my pregnancy, and even now, being like, how do I do this?
Yeah, that's good to have our moms as resources for in general, but your mom is also a multiple mom, so that's nice that she has some knowledge of that too. She is. But I'm saying because you also have multiples, it's like, what did you do in this situation? Yeah.
Way too late.
So when you found out you were having triplets, how did you feel? And how did your husband react? And what did life look like after that?
Big questions.
Yeah, so I was actually I'm active duty Navy. I'm still active duty Navy. I was stationed on a ship at the time, so I hadn't told anybody I was pregnant because I had found out pretty recently, and I had my husband meet me at the military hospital for an ultrasound. I thought I was about 8 weeks along. And so I just had told my office or my ship mates that I was going to a medical appointment because it wasn't a lie. So we go there, in my uniform and everything. Like I'm wearing a uniform actually. And I remember talking to the sonar tech because I was so nervous. I just wanted to see like a healthy baby. That's all I
Emily,
wanted.
the sonographer, not the sonar tech.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Sonographer. Sonar tech is right in the Navy. Wow. Mom of triplets.
You get a pass.
Yeah.
You get a pass.
So the sonographer, excuse me, the ultrasound technician, whatever, the ultrasound gal, the sonographer. So she was super cute. They always are. And
yeah, why is that?
Do you guys remember Becca, that we went to middle school with? She is so cute, and she's a sonographer, and I just always think of her whenever I think of a sonographer.
I could definitely see her doing that.
They're
always so nice and cute.
So nice and so adorable.
So she has the cutest little boys too.
Oh,
truly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go to the sonographer. I'm like trying to talk to her. I'm like super awkward. I'm super nervous. Like all I want to see is this healthy baby. The screen isn't even. I can't even see it. It's like it's angled away from me, and my husband is standing next to me. He's got his hand behind my head, and I'm just kind of like, baby, can't wait to see a baby. And I'm just kind of being like, how'd you get into this? I know you have to go to a lot of school because of Becca, actually, because I saw her go through that. And she just stopped talking. She stopped answering me, and so I was kind of like, okay. And I did not think that there was anything wrong with the baby either. This is how like I was not even thinking there was something wrong with the baby. Like my head wasn't even close to that. Like I was like, oh, like she just doesn't want to talk to me. Like I was like, okay. Like I actually looked over to Paul and I was like, I don't know what to say, and he shrugged. Then like maybe a minute later, she puts the ultrasound wand down onto the little thing where they hold the ultrasound wand. And she looks at me and she puts her hands down. She just puts her hands on her, like on her thighs, and she takes a deep breath. So I see 3 babies, and I look at her and I said, "You're insert cuss word here, joking." Like that's what I say. Yeah. And
no
then,
other way to
and
respond.
Then my husband literally rips his hand away from my head, and my head goes like bong backwards because I wasn't expecting it. She's looking at this screen like we have any idea what the screen looks like or like what we're looking at, and I'm just like, my first reaction is like, I'm gonna get humongous. Like that was my first reaction, was like, I'm gonna get so huge. And then my second thought was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to have a C-section. Like I wasn't really expecting that. Like I'm very healthy. I wanted to have like a normal, like no birth is normal, but I wanted to have a vaginal birth, like a very natural one as much as possible. And I knew that wasn't gonna happen. And then we were just left alone in this room, the same room, for like 50 minutes, like 50 minutes, waiting for a doctor to come talk to us. So she looks at a lot of
thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, so she looks at us some more. She looks at it some more, and like I cannot. If she says babies or triplets, I just start laughing uncontrollably, which like makes it impossible to do the ultrasound. So I just had to like look away. I was just like looking away like this, like while she was doing that, and she was like trying to show me, and I was like, I can't hear you. I can't do this. So Paul is saying nothing. And then she leaves. We wait for the doctor. We're sitting there for 50 minutes, and we're just like laughing hysterically. And Paul's like, "Can I tell the family?" And I was like, "Sure." So he just takes a picture of the sonogram and sends it to the family WhatsApp chat. And it's just like, the ultrasound's not over yet, but we're having triplets. And that's how, like, we didn't have like a fun, like, reveal, because it was like we were absolutely shocked. I mean, just completely shocked. And
Meanwhile, I get this message because I'm on the group chat, and so I was like, "What? What?" And so immediately, Beth and I, our older sister, we're on the phone, and we are like, "There's no way." And I'm like texting it, and I'm like, "Paul, you're joking." I was like, I think I said Paul's got jokes. I think is what I said. That Paul is Emily's husband, and I was like, "He's got jokes." And Beth and I were like, "There's no way. Why would he joke about this?" We're on the phone, we're talking through it, and then I pulled over. I think I was driving, and I pulled over and I looked at the picture and I saw that it was Emily's name and her birthday on it and like the time, and I was like, oh my god. And I was like, oh, this is real. And because I thought he was I seriously thought he's a kind of a jokester, like he really is kind of a jokester guy, so I thought like he was would do that. Joking. Yeah, like I didn't think, like I thought he was joking for fun, and so I didn't believe it for like an hour or longer until I could actually talk to Emily about it, and I can corroborate she was pretty much just hysterically laughing. She was just like,
I love that that's your response. Totally valid.
I remember you sending that text to our group chat, and I was like, "Yay, baby!" And you were like, "There's 3." And I was like, look at it again, because I didn't know what I was looking at. I like ran to Jacob. I was like, look at this. I was in shock for like a week for you. Just
I'd just be like sitting at work and I'd be like, Emily's having triplets.
I know.
What?
Me too. Oh
so if I was thinking that, I can't imagine how much
it's such a change.
Yeah.
And you just from what you imagined being pregnant would be like, what you imagined being a mom would look like, kind of just completely changed.
I had to honestly like mourn like the entire expectation of my motherhood and like the life I expected to have, and that sounds very dramatic, but like when you're pregnant, you understand like everything is so important. And it was important, and I knew Paul and I, we had talked about having 2, maybe 3 kids, and so now we are all of a sudden having 3, and that was probably more than we were expecting to have, and it's very expensive to have children, and so like it's expensive, and so we had to make a lot of decisions in a very short period of time, relatively, to determine like what our family is going to look like, what are we going to do. I'm still making career choices that are different than what I expected because I had triplets, and we're having to like change our expectations all the time, even now. And my kids are healthy, and they're so cute. But they're healthy. They're almost 2,
so cute.
And there's nothing, like we're so blessed and lucky that we don't have any developmental issues with them, or they have any issues like that. But a lot of triplet parents do, and so we're just very lucky that that's the case. But even then, it's still so difficult to be a mother of multiples. I can't imagine your mom, Lela and Lily. Like your mom had twins first, and then was like, "Yeah, that was fun. Let me do that 2 more times." Whew, no thanks.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are like, we're done after this. This is enough.
I bet after that and then having 1, they're like, oh, this is easy.
We could do another single.
I bet Noah was nothing. He was like, oh, we only have
baby,
1.
Apparently. Yeah, Noah was like a very easy baby, I've heard. My question is, how would you describe your balance between like your work and Navy life and home, family, mom life? What does that look like?
I think I was a super huge workaholic before I had my kids, and then having my kids forced me to reprioritize my life, like expectations and my actual priorities. And so nowadays I try to I would not really leave work before 4 or 5 p.m. before kids, and now with kids I really try to be home by 4 p.m. Just because my whole thought process is this worth missing dinner with my kids? Is this worth missing making dinner, giving them dinner, putting them down, bath time? And I ask my coworkers that sometimes too when I'm being pulled into something, and I'll ask them like, oh, is this worth not seeing my triplets tonight? And it makes everybody kind of reset their expectations of like, oh yeah, this isn't that important. We can talk about this tomorrow. And sometimes it is that important, and I have to say, and luckily I have a civilian husband who can kind of take up some of that slack, but I think I'm still learning that work-life balance. The kids have been, we have a full-time nanny, and she's been working with us since they were 5 months old. And so I went back to work at 5 months, and even since then, I've been working on like the balance. I'm actually about to leave for 3 months on Monday. And so like I'm still trying to, I'm taking them, I'm going to have them come meet me in Hawaii for a week. But we're still going to be gone.
Yeah. When you have to go for like long periods of time like that, how is that usually for you?
I would left them to go to Rhode Island back in October and November of last year, and what I do is I immediately figure out a time I can see them, and whether that be FaceTime, whether that be a visit, some sort of way to see them, to connect with them, because it's really important for me and it's really important for them. So I think that's one of my biggest priorities, and then I think it's really hard at first, and then I get into my sort of routines, and it makes it bearable, but it's very hard to be away from them.
Yeah.
Emily, that's something that I struggle with too, is like the workaholism thing. We were actually talking about that before you came on to the call earlier. Lily and Lela were asking me how my work was, and I was like talking about how much I'm really grateful that I've gotten to grow my team recently, because I was doing myself and one other person on my team, which was just a team of 2 of us. We were doing the work of probably like 6 or 8 people. And so the fact that I've been able to grow my team to 6 to 8 people now is I'm really grateful for that. But that also comes with I would work all day long and too long, which causes me to have hard conversations with someone like my husband, who I love and love to see. And, he like questions whether or not I care more about my job than our relationship. And that is always a hard conversation to have, because I was raised to really be like career focused, so that way I could have kids and be able to prepare for them, just like we both did, just like we all 4 have done. And it kind of feels like you can't win, because like you're either going to be a career person or you're going to be like a parent person, and like doing both, it's hard to find that balance. Watching you find that balance, it's been hard to watch Emily find that balance, especially as a naval officer.
Get pulled in like 2 different directions. And I feel like that's something that women experience a lot in general, just like the roles. It's like you have to be like perfect at all roles. Like if you're working, be a career driven work person. If you're a mom, do all the mom things and or that's the societal expectation, at least. I feel like a lot of women that become moms, that is like a struggle. Just like, how can I balance this identity? Like my identity is a mom, but I'm also like this other thing in this other role.
Yeah.
There's just like a particular kind of expectation, I feel like it's
I think it's actually I actually think it's made me prioritize or think about the identity that I've had as a naval officer, because I've been in for 12 years, and how important is that, and have I just been holding on to this identity because I'm proud of it? What makes me happy? Driving ships does make me happy for sure, but I don't like being away from my family. So there's a drawback to a lot of that, and with the current geopolitical situation, like there's more to consider than there was when I got pregnant. And so it's just, do I actually want to do this job as much as I did before? And is it okay that I don't, or am I thinking about a short-term solution to a longer-term kind of resolution to being a mom?
Yeah, and becoming a mom really makes you think about all of these things, especially when you're like things based around your identity, especially if you just all you know is, I mean, we go to school we graduate, we go to the next school, we get grades, and then when you become a mom, you're kind of like, well, I don't know how I'm doing. Like, I don't have anything to tell me. Like, and then you kind of have to refocus everything, and then still feel like you have to focus. Like when I was working, and then I had Romy, I kind of feel like, I don't know, I felt separate from that identity, so it's hard for me. I had so many friends at work and everything, but it was hard for me to go back because I was just felt different. Like I feel like it changed my whole identity. So yeah, it does kind of make you refocus your values and who you are. And
I know. I felt that immediately as soon as I found I was pregnant. I felt like that happened to me. Like I know it's probably different as I'm gonna go forward, but I'm like, I felt different about work and like about like that I didn't care so much or something. Like I was like, I just feel like why. I don't know. It's like the priority thing you're talking about. It just like makes you think about your priorities, and I'm like, and actually, I've had clients that talk about this too a lot. Like when they get pregnant, and they're like we would be working on like work-life balance for so many sessions, and then they find out they're pregnant or something, and they're like, okay, now I like really, they're like motivated to do that, and they're like, now I have a work-life balance because they just need it. Like it just gives you a different kind of motivation, which is exactly how I feel. And I feel like that about eating food. I'm just like, I don't care how much food I'm eating because I need to eat and I need to feed my baby. Before I'd be like, how many calories is this? What is, like, it just changes like your relationship to yourself and your priorities.
Yeah. The books recommended I gain 80 pounds in my pregnancy, and it was so daunting. I didn't even get there. I tried.
I remember you doing that. You're like eating all this food. Yeah, you're like, I'm trying.
I remember that too.
Do you guys remember the milkshakes?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're like so many calories. Very caloric milkshakes.
So I have a question for you, Emily, and then we can move on to Paige's story, and anything else you want to talk about. What has been harder for you? And what are the different types of challenges in parenting and being in the Navy? And are there any similarities?
So I'm a surface warfare officer, and we kind of pride ourselves on like working really hard and not sleeping very much and having to stay on lots of watch in the middle of the night and during the day and just kind of like doing more with less. And I really thought that was going to set me up to be a great mom, because it's like I'm used to working at night. I'm used to being needed all the time and like never turning it off, and that high stress kind of environment. And then I had triplets, and it was way harder, way harder than anything I ever have done in the Navy. Like
there was
the hardest thing I've ever done.
There was one time where she looked at me as I was there a lot. Oh, River, hi River, kitty, kitty. So I was there a lot when she was postpartum, because one, they're my nieces and nephew, and I have to be there.
Well, Louisa looks just like Paige. Louisa looks just like her.
Yeah, she's my little twin. But Sadie looks just like you. That's so cute. It's so cute. But I remember her looking at me, and I was like, what can I do for you while I'm here? So that way you can, that you need. And she was like, I would love to get more than 4 hours of sleep at night. And I just was like, you haven't gotten 4 hours of sleep yet? And this was in November. She had the babies in July, or she had the triplets. I don't like calling them babies. She had the triplets in July, and so it had been like 4 months since she had fully slept a night. And so I was like, oh, we're gonna make that happen. And then she looked at me, I think a couple of minutes later, and she was like, I would rather do a double deployment than this.
Oh my God.
I was like, I believe it.
How validating
really
for moms, though. Like,
yes.
All the moms listening, it's like they hear your job and like how wild it is, and you're saying that's hard.
Sleep deprivation is used as a form of torture. Let's just put that out there. That's how hard it is. I really feel like that's such a contributing factor to why postpartum feels so hard, is because you can't just live a life that not a mom on little sleep productively and healthfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to
Well,
talk about
the
your.
difference is that on a Navy ship, like if we're on deployment, if you're underway on a Sunday, we have holiday routine, so you get to sleep in. So at least you're guaranteed like pretty much once
Yeah,
a
you
week
can look forward to
get to
that.
sleep
Yeah.
in.
Hmm.
And like that's just that, like motherhood never turns off. Like you still gotta, if you're
Hmm.
breastfeeding, you still either have to breastfeed or pump, and like you just can't, like
If you're
it's
sick, you gotta
harder.
show up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got mastitis twice,
Oh,
and I got really sick
Terrible.
one time. And River, sorry, this is too much. Um,
I
she
loved it.
wants.
It was so cute.
standing on your knee like a mountain.
So yeah, that was very difficult because I legitimately couldn't get a break. I did eventually. My church helped me out a lot. Paige helped me out a lot. But it was, and my husband was helping. It's just he didn't really know how to help the way I needed, and I didn't know how to like really like explain it to him until I actually had sleep and was able to kind
Yeah.
of level out a little bit.
You are really disconnected from yourself. I've never seen you like that in our life. And it was really hard for me to see you postpartum because I could tell that you were like spaced out, disconnected, and I could tell that that was the hormones. Something I read recently that I shared with Lela actually was that when women give birth, they immediately drop to a hormone level lower than perimenopause or menopause once they give birth. And for a male, like a man, to experience the equivalent of that hormone drop, they would have to age 125 years in one day. And so when I read that stat, I was like, okay, I understand why Emily was the way she was, because you guys have to understand she was always there for me during my like open heart surgeries and every surgery that I had, and she was my rock, my anchor, so to speak, and she would kind of like anchor me while I was
Aw.
going through like surgery and stuff. So when I saw her postpartum with after her C-section, trying to figure out how to pump and trying to just figure out how to be and come back to herself, I'm still kind of watching her do it, but it's been a really beautiful journey to watch. And I'm sure, Lela, you had that experience with Lily too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
hormone drop thing, that is insane. And also on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, it's like you're learning a new way of living. You're trying to take care of these like helpless beings. It's so
Hmm.
hard.
And they were
But
premature, and so
yeah,
they
and
had
they were in the
very
NICU.
specific requirements, feeding
Yeah.
requirements, and they were
That's a
tinier.
lot.
And
Hmm.
That
I
is a
was like,
lot.
and the postpartum, like the anxiety made me like so nervous to even like sleep around them. Like I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
bedroom right now, but I had all
Hmm.
three of them in snooze, which was
Mm-hmm.
Lily's recommendation. So great, thank you for that recommendation. Um, and I was afraid to fall asleep in here because I was afraid that I was going to miss something. And like we
Yeah.
brought Sadie home and she still didn't like fully breathe and eat at the same time. So I had to like when I would breastfeed her or bottle feed her, it was only me and my mother-in-law because
Mm-hmm.
my mother-in-law was a nurse, and we'd have to like literally pat her back to get her to breathe while she was
Oh my
feeding. And
God.
that is
Oh
just
my
that
gosh.
is like you just can't be on 24/7. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so much. There's so many things like that you have to be on for and alert and think about. It's like no wonder
Hmm.
no like
And
everyone
you're
doesn't
not
have
really
some kind of crazy
eased into
anxiety,
it.
but then yeah, it's just thrown at you.
It just happens.
But I don't know. I'm
One
like
day you're
such a
pregnant,
huge
one day you're
advocate
not.
for the village, and
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I am just really I admire that you like started going to found that church that you found and just like I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
need this,
Hmm.
and you you just started
You made
going
it happen.
and made sure that you
Yeah.
had a village. But it's so hard.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
back then,
it's making me consider like going into like ministry.
oh
I
really?
love it.
Really?
Hmm.
That's
I love that.
Yeah,
awesome.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What about it made you start thinking about that?
just the service, like just the immediate, we can serve this person, the eagerness to serve, and
Hmm.
the resources were there. They just needed somebody that needed the resources. that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
going to take
Yeah.
advantage of it. And so, like, there were a bunch of, because typically congregations are older, on the older side, and what do most older women want to do? They would love to just hold a baby and cuddle them and, feed them. And guess what? I have a surplus of babies. I don't have three arms. Like, I
I love
need
that
people to hold and cuddle
strategy.
my babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
And
strategic of
so,
you.
yeah. Yeah. And I had
Um,
my in-laws come out
win-win.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I think in general I got to hold my babies less overall because I was asking for so much help, but I don't feel bad about it. Like, I love my babies know that I love them, and they get plenty of
Hmm.
cuddles from me, and there doesn't need to be like all the attention from one person.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That's so
Something that's
Yeah.
true.
really
Babies thrive on
beautiful.
multiple
Yes.
caregivers. So.
Yes.
Yes, and they're so socialized through that experience because they
Hmm.
had so many people come through their house. So, just a little context for the audience to know about this, because we all know what Emily set up, or what was set up for Emily on behalf of her and her children and her family. But the church, shout out La Mesa United Methodist Church there in La Mesa, California. They are excellent. They heard my sister's story and they saw her come into this church and just absolutely put their arms around her and covered her with so much love and care and grace. And just was just beautiful. There were volunteers who were volunteering to help Emily with her laundry. There were volunteers that would volunteer to come over and bring food. There were church members bringing them food on a weekly basis until Thanksgiving or longer, and they had the babies in July. Then also there was this really beautiful sign-up list that one of the congregation members created
She was
called,
actually a former reverend of the church.
yeah, Jan,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Oh.
And so Jan, what did she call it? Bottles, babies, and cuddles.
Yeah.
BB,
Bottles,
the BB,
That's
burping, bottles, and cuddles.
the BBC
Bottles,
list.
burping,
The
cuddles.
cute.
Yeah,
BBC. Yeah.
yeah, bottles, burping, and cuddles list. And so you had so many people who were volunteering for it, and not only were they volunteering from the church, they were friends of people from this church that were volunteering on this list that were not part of this church that heard about it and were like, I want to be a part of this.
That's
And so
amazing.
it was
That
just
is
a
awesome.
really cool community thing to see. Like, I've never
Yeah.
seen it before in my life. And also because Emily lives in the state of California, there are a lot of resources available to children that are in the NICU. And so she had an entity that was coming over, a couple of gals that were coming over from, I think, the state of California, and then also, wasn't it from
The
your
military.
opportunities with the
There was a
military?
new parent support group, new parent support
Hmm.
program.
Yes. And
Awesome.
so
That's amazing.
when all these people would come through, and they were just they knew that they were there to help Emily, and so they were there for Emily, and they saw Emily in a time where I think she couldn't really see herself, and all of these people watching over her helped her with being able to kind of survive that experience. Because what I tell a lot of people is that my experience with watching it, just on my side, was that, like, the difference between one child and three is like violence and chaos. And it's not, it just is. It's like, it's violent for the mom. It's like, it's just, your kids are screaming violently, and so it was just really chaotic, and it's so hard to just get your arms around it and to know that your babies are going to be okay, and then also you're going to be okay. And so to watch that community come together and really just totally cover Emily and her husband and their children in their love and their care for her has been one of the most beautiful things I've ever watched in my entire life.
That's
That is
amazing. I'm so glad you had
So
that.
build your village. Build your village,
Yes.
Mom.
Yes.
I
important.
think that's what I really admire, that you like sought that out. You knew like this is what I'm gonna need, and you sought it out, like Lily was saying. And I feel like that is something that people can look into more of, like all the resources around. And I know like
Look into
there's
churches.
certain parts, yeah, churches. Like
Churches
that's
are
not
great
something a lot of,
communities. No.
yeah. And I think there's two parts to that make it hard sometimes for women. It's like one, I think there's a lot of like this, and in this culture, it's like the hyper independence thing. Like I should do this on my own. Like this is what the expectation is. And then two, it can be hard to find resources. But then, well, I guess three things. And then the last thing is someone commented this, and I keep thinking about it, like on one of our shorts about, I always forget the word, but it's like our culture is very like, what is it?
It starts with an L. Liturgy?
Like very aware.
Litigious.
Litigious.
Yes.
Like we can be that way. So
Yes.
like I like that
Yeah.
you, like it's okay to just like allow people to help you and like not feel like you have to do it. And
It's crazy because I was
like,
not that way before I got pregnant.
I know, that's why I'm like, that's so awesome
really
that you
wasn't.
did that, because you are like a very like independent, like I can do it type of person. But like anyone who has a kid, and especially triplets, can't. Like it's
Reach the
impossible
limit. Yeah.
to do by yourself. Yeah. And it's not helping anyone to do it that way either. So I just admire that. I think that's awesome.
Something I want to go back to is that Paige went to see Emily and cared for her, and you guys have such a good special twin bond. And I think that's so special to have when you have kids, because you kind of feel like there's a second one of you to like kind of see. They really see you and they understand. And sometimes that's weird when you become a mom and your twin sister isn't, because you're kind of like, but do you really understand?
Yeah.
But I do.
I've thought about that a
feel
lot.
like it's so special to have that. And I was going to ask you, Emily, what are some beautiful moments you have, or times you've noticed yourself feeling like, wow, I am a twin woman parenting twin girls. Like that would feel really special, I feel.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm parenting triplets, with a set of identical twins in there. And I think growing up as a twin, it shows me, you have the highs and the lows, and I'm pretty prepared to see all of it, I think. But I also, even from something as like inane, and it's not inane, but like the naming of them, I was very serious about, okay, they I do not want them to have matching names. They're already going to share a birthday. They're probably going to share a room for a long time. They're going to be, what's the word? Judged against each other, compared. So I wanted them to each have their own kind of personality. So I made sure that their names didn't match each other at all. Which like, there's like, it's like two schools of thought with like naming, like the multiple naming community. And I don't judge anybody who names their babies like similar names, because I also
Like
think
Lily
that's
and Lela.
really cute and really cool. Yeah, but like you guys, your names are matchy. However,
I love your name so much.
People got so confused because of that.
What the audience does not know is that you guys are named after your grandmothers. So like Lily is your mother's mom or your dad's mom?
My mother's mom, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Mother's
and
grandma.
Lela is your dad's. Yeah, so
My
like,
dad's grandma.
so
Yeah.
it's families' names. So
It's
like
the other
that,
way.
and actually, my kids
Wait,
are
what?
named after their grandmothers
what?
too.
I said it's the other way around.
Oh, sorry. My mom's grandma's
wow.
Lela. My dad's grandma's Lily. Yeah.
Yeah. So my kids are actually named after their grandmothers as well, but they all just have different names. Even Dean. Dean is named after Val Dean. She's a lady.
I love it.
She's still alive. She's kicking in Kingsport, Tennessee. She's met them. It was great. But I read the books. My mom gave me a book recommendation. Paige and my mom both sent me the same book. And the twins, when they're testing twins, triplets, and quads, and I read it, and then I tried to get my husband to read it. I think he read a little bit of it, but I don't think he was like ready for it until it was happening. And I was like,
a lot of men are.
Yep.
I think a lot of men are like
I've heard
that.
that a lot.
Yeah, same.
but
My husband
especially as
told
I was
me-
getting.
Go ahead, Emily.
sorry, as I was getting more and more pregnant, and like I had less, and I could do less and less. Like I truly felt like I was disabled at the end of my pregnancy, like
Yeah.
truly, like I
Emily,
couldn't
you
walk.
were.
Yeah.
You were. Your pelvis separated
yeah.
from
Yeah.
your body. Ouch.
So yeah, so all that to say, like I think I am really excited to see them grow up and have that twin bond and that triplet and sibling bond in general. And I'm really happy that it's the girls that are identical twins, because I always
Yeah,
felt
you have a
like
special
identical twin,
understanding.
no shade to any of the identical twin men that might be watching this, though that would be highly surprising. But if there are any, I feel that it's a little bit it's a little bit lost on the men who are identical twins, because girls, just siblings, sisters bond together so much more than I see brothers. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
happy
unique
for that.
type of bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool that you just have that, like, that perspective on it, that you can think about things like that a lot of moms that aren't a twin would, like, I want them to have their own personality. I don't want, because like I think that the typical thing for moms of twins to do is like, I'm gonna dress them the same and they're gonna do the same things and they're gonna,
and I still dress them the
you're
same,
aware
to
of
be
that.
honest. Like sometimes I put them in the same outfits. My nanny loves to put them in coordinating outfits, and we did that growing up too. And I also don't mind like being stopped in the grocery store or like in a spot somewhere and people are like, are those triplets? And I'll be like, yeah, they are. And then I always get they're so cute, because they are so cute, and like
So
I'm their mom and I think they're the cutest, but they are actually objectively very
like,
cute.
They're genuinely
so
cute.
cute.
They're genuinely cute. And I just find a lot of joy, honestly, out of being stopped in an area and being like, do you have triplets? And then all the moms are always like, how do you do it? How do you do it? I can't. I bow down to you. And I'm just I always say, I think one is really hard. That's how I respond to that, because I truly do think that. I just don't know that experience. And then like sometimes it's annoying and I have stuff I need to do, but nobody tries to pick up my kids or anything. They just, they just want to. I notice it's a way for people to connect with me and my kids, and it takes a few minutes out of my day, but I know it means a lot to them, especially the older people, honestly. Like, and that's why I like taking them to church too, because it just means so much to them.
Oh, I love that.
That was so unbelievably sweet, Emily. Oh my
That's
goodness.
very sweet.
Yeah.
Paige,
So
I'm
cute.
curious what you were gonna say about what your husband said about
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we are family planning, and so we are trying for a baby soon, very soon.
Yay,
And
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. I'm so excited. So, but when I was like talking to him about it, and I've kind of had a really interesting journey to this part of my life because of my heart condition that I was born with. I had to get an MRI and also a stress test in order for my doctor to like tell me that he was okay with me having a baby. And it was like I was kind of being a can. My patient case was kind of a can that was being kicked down the road by my doctors, because they didn't really want to tell me, because they don't really have any journals to kind of look at someone with a case like mine, who have had a baby and things like that. And so I was just determined that I was not going, that like I was going to get an answer, whether or not it was a no, we don't recommend it, or yes, we do. So that's taken me ultimately like my entire adulthood, really. But I've been ready to have a baby for a while. But I didn't have like the go ahead from my doctors. So I've been really pushing for that, especially in the last 18 months. And there was kind of like you might need surgery first on the table, and then now that's off the table, which I'm really grateful for. So I'm really healthy right now. But while I was going through this, I was talking with my husband about it, because I've been, in my head, I've been like, everything I'm doing sort of is like aligning toward me having a family. And so when I sat my husband down, I was like, what do you think about this? He was just kind of like, to be honest, I didn't really think I would ever be at a place where I would have a child, so I haven't thought about it at all. And I'm like, okay, so I just feel like you're going back to Paul, like, kind of like not really knowing how to help you, or, not really wanting to read the book until the babies were there. Like, I just think that that's a really kind of manly thing to do, unless you happen to be really lucky to be with a man who's like super in touch with their emotions and what they want out of life, and have asked those questions to themselves before they got there, or before their wife got there first, or their partner, spouse. Yeah, so that's
true.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's more real for the woman too, because it's like your body is doing
your
it,
body,
so it's like
your
you are thinking about
kind
it
of
more, and
responsible.
you're like aware of things. You're going to all the appointments. You're like it's just more in your radar.
You can't
it's more
you can't
real.
eat deli meat. Like you can't just go.
Yeah,
to the
you have to be
store
thinking
and
about
get
what
like
you're
a
eating.
You can't have sushi.
you gotta take prenatals. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta take prenatals. You gotta
every
Can't
time.
drink 4 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
Which is difficult.
Badly.
It's very hard.
That was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
I
has
truly
been
cut
rough.
down to 2 cups a day. And then like when I was first breastfeeding, I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to drink coffee. That went away real quick.
I actually have been sleeping amazing since I've been pregnant. I'm like, I think it's because I'm not drinking caffeine or wine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what's helping. I'm like, maybe I'll keep doing this, but I do miss drinking coffee all day. Good times. Good times.
Okay, thank you, Emily, for sharing your life and your motherhood journey. I love you, and I'm amazed by you all the time. And
I love you.
And we can still talk about, obviously, our triplet babies as we converse about Paige, but let's talk about Paige's journey.
Yes, but before we do that, we should wrap up this episode and then introduce episode 2, because we're going to do 2 parts, right?
Okay.
So thanks for watching part 1 of Wombmates. We'll hope to see you in part 2 next week, when we talk about Paige and her journey.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.